A director that does not want to join the dark side of the Force? How unfortunate.
Hey, Crusaders, how's it going there? Comic Relief Crusader here with some interesting news. This time by Variety. I guess the Dune director, Denis Villeneuve, has an opinion about current Star Wars right now. And this from them. Denis Villeneuve says Star Wars got derailed by Return of the Jedi, and there's no more surprises in the franchise. I'm not dreaming of directing one. Well, this is a very interesting comic by Denis. And, apparently, he has been a longtime fan of Star Wars, but the article goes on to say Denis Villeneuve has long cited Star Wars when discussing his favorite movies as a child, but that doesn't mean he'd be interested in teaming up with Lucasfilm to make a movie set in a galaxy far, far away. And who could blame him with the state of Star Wars now? During an interview on The Town podcast, the Dune film director said directing a Star Wars movie is not a dream of his because Return of the Jedi derailed the franchise in 1983. Well, what does he mean by that? He means actually this. I was the target audience when I was 10 years old. I went to my brain like a silver bullet. I became obsessed with Star Wars, Villeneuve said about George Lucas's original. I mean, The Empire Strikes Back is a movie that I anticipated the most in my life, and I have to agree with him. It is the best Star Wars movie, at least in my opinion, that was ever released. So I saw the movie in a billion times on screen. I was traumatized by The Empire Strikes Back. I adore Star Wars. Well, yeah, I mean, who can really blame him on that? I mean, there were some shocking moments in there. And you know what? And it gave me the kind of perspective like, you know what? Every once in a while in a film, the bad guys should win because it gives you the weight and the gravitas of the situation, you know, fighting for freedom in the galaxy. And sometimes the good guys don't always win. So he goes on to say, the problem is that it all derailed in 1983 with Return of the Jedi, he continued. It's a long story. I was 15 years old, and my best friend and I wanted to take a cab and go to LA and talk to George Lucas. We were so angry. Still today, the Ewoks. But I love the teddy bears. I can't help it. It turned out to be comedy for kids. Well, you know, in a way, you have to kind of appeal to the kids because, you know, we are the kids that grew up with it, you know? But he goes on to say, Villeneuve argued that after Return of the Jedi, the Star Wars franchise became crystallized in its own mythology, very dogmatic. It seemed like a recipe, no more surprises. So I'm not dreaming to do a Star Wars because it feels like code is very codified. So Star Wars is out of the question for Villeneuve, as is another iconic space franchise. He goes, I'm not a Trekkie, the director said when asking about doing Star Trek. You know what? And in a sense, he's right. I mean, aside from episode 1, 2, and 3, for me, especially with the other last trilogy, which need not be named, that was it for Star Wars. Aside from a few video games here and there that came out during the 90s and the books from Dark Horse, which, expanded a bit on the universe and the various novels that were awesome when they came out. And to me, like Villeneuve, that was it for Star Wars. And it's kind of nice to see another director actually taking a stand and saying, you know what? That's it. There's no more to be said. You know, it was just the way it is, and the story's closed, and kind of, in a sense, good for him for taking a stand and saying, you know what, that's it for me, and I don't want to do Star Wars. But, that's just his opinion, and that's also mine as well. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Hit the like and the subscribe button and everything else that goes along with it. And let me know what you think about Denis Villeneuve's comments. So stay tuned for more news as it comes about. This is the Comic Relief Crusader. We'll talk to you later.